All right, good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon, Coach Michael Burt. Hope you guys are off to a great start today. It's 3:20 on, let's see, 4 p.m. No, it's 4 p.m. on Monday. And what I like to do during this period of snow and everybody down and everybody out and everybody trying to do something, man, I wanted to bring you some positive news. I was going to do about a 20-minute coaching session. You can see that I've increased my coaching sessions over the last couple of weeks because I think people need a good dose of energy. I think they need some positivity. I think they need some coaching. And in the old days, guys, I did this so much. I used to do something every single freaking day on my Facebook, on my YouTube channel, on everything. And it was one way I just built energy and momentum. You guys know I'm associated with a coffee company called Nashville Grind. You can see behind me the Coach's Greatness Blend that you can get at nashvillegrind.com/coach. And one of the things we're doing with this brand and with this blend is we're adding a coaching element to it. We've added event activation to it. We've added a 4-week series called Behind the Grind, which I'm starting next week. And I really resonated with this coffee company because of the concept behind every big star was once a little star that wanted to be big. And they had a cycle of grinding it out. They had a cycle of a long obedience in the same direction. They had a cycle of just pushing toward a breakthrough. And I think this is evident of anybody that's done anything big. So in this short coaching session, I'm going to ask a simple question. Where does the breakthrough come from? There's a lot of people out there who have momentum, but they don't have money. Let me say that again. They've got momentum, but they don't have money. They've been grinding it out. They could be escalating commitment to the wrong goal. They may be in a vehicle that can't get them to their goals. They may be in a business that they don't enjoy. But you're out there and you're kind of grinding it out and you're like, how do I experience a breakthrough? And many times a breakthrough happens as a result of a breakdown. So the psychology of this is where there's no pain, there's no change. And many times breakdowns create breakthroughs. Okay, so if we were to backtrack and ask, where does this breakthrough come from? If we had to manufacture a quantum leap, a big breakthrough, a hockey stick moment, what if I told you that it's going to be hard for you to actually figure out exactly where this breakthrough is going to come from? And we can't control where the breakthrough is going to come from. I'd love to tell you that I could sit down and I can map it out on a piece of paper and I can draw up exactly where there's going to be a hockey stick moment. And I can tell you exactly where the business is going to have an inflection point and exactly the year I was going to win a championship and exactly the year I was going to write a best-selling book, but you can't. So it's like when they asked Bryce Pritchett, how do you know when you're ready to experience a quantum leap? And he said, you don't know. You just make a simple decision. And you start moving toward a big goal. And when you're moving toward that big goal, something Jim Collins talked about in Good to Great is you start building a flywheel of momentum. Now, this only happens when you have a clear aiming point. You eliminate opportunity confusion. You put all of your energy into something. So in my meetings today, I'm like, what can we cut out? What can we get rid of? What is not a high use of our time? What is a vehicle that's going nowhere? Who do we need to latch our wagon to? Like, so when you think about where does the breakthrough come from, you can't predetermine where the breakthrough is going to come from. All you can do is choose an aiming point. And as Pritchett says, run like hell toward that aiming point. And I call that going from mental creation into physical action. So I choose an aiming point. We're going to be number one at this. We're going to do this. We're going to have these targets. We're going to have these quantitative goals. We're going to have these qualitative goals. And we're going to wake up and we're going to focus on this level 10 opportunity. And we're going to move with with 3 things. We're going to activate the drive daily. We're going to move with a persistence. We're going to stick to a structure. We're going to move with an intensity. Those are the 3 phases of Pray Drive. And we're going to work backwards from these 3 things. It's like, okay, here's the big goal. What do I want to experience? A quantum leap versus an incremental growth. So if I had to deconstruct where breakthroughs come from, and if you pin me down and say, Coach, where does a breakthrough come from? It comes from two things, guys. It comes from two things. You meet a new person. Okay. You meet a new person that brings you new information. Okay. And they come along and they go, this is what we got to do. Okay. This is what we got to do. We meet a new person. We get new information. Okay. Get new information. Or we meet a person that introduces us to a new group of people. Okay. So when you think about this, I want you to think of the way a breakthrough happens is I'm going down the path, and somebody comes along and goes, hey, boom, you could do it different than the way you're currently doing it. And you're just like, oh, I haven't even thought about that. It's a crucial conversation. And the crucial conversation, right? The crucial conversation creates a breakthrough. Or we meet somebody that introduces us to a new line of business. The key to the many is to the one. You're one relationship away from a new season in your life. So you say, well, Coach, you're not telling me how to have a breakthrough. Yes, I am telling you how to have a breakthrough. It's like when you read the Quantum Leap strategy and people go, after they read the book, they're like, how do you do it? Well, you go back and you read the book. And the book shows you how to have a quantum leap. It's like, I got to be open to possibility. I got to move and circulate. I got to choose an aiming point. I got to get into action. I got to move like crazy toward the goal. I got to meet new people. I have to have psychological flexibility. If you read the book enough, the book actually shows you where the breakthrough comes from. So for a country music artist out there who's grinding it out on Broadway, and they go, man, I'm just hoping one day somebody's going to find me. I'm just hoping if I sing good enough, somebody's going to find me. No, that's the wrong question. The right question is, who do I need to meet in this city? What manager do I need? Who do I need to emulate? Who do I need to follow? Which shows do I need to be at? How do I need to dress? What do I need to change? Who can help me move between A and B? Not how do I get there? Okay. And too many people get caught up in how versus who. So when you're thinking about where does this breakthrough come from, right? This Behind the Grind series is like, I'm moving. And then it's like, okay, one day I have a breakthrough. Now, one example I have here is winning a championship. When I was a basketball coach, guys, I didn't know when I was going to win a championship, but I knew I made a decision and I started changing my self-talk. And I started going, I'm not a coach. I'm a championship coach. My first 5 years, I didn't say that. I go, I'll be a good coach, but I'll never win a championship because they've never won a championship here. Then I changed my self-talk to I am a championship coach. I just haven't won a championship yet. It took me probably 6 years from that day to win a championship, but I changed my internal talk. It's called a double shift. I changed the way I saw myself and I changed the way I acted externally so that people begin to see me differently. So I shifted internally and externally, right? It took me 6 years to have a breakthrough. I chose an aiming point. I got around people who had won championships. I became totally humble and teachable. I had psychological flexibility, which means I was willing to try new things until it worked. I checked my ego at the gate. I became intense and positive. Like if I sit down and I reworked and I go, how did this happen? Like, how did this happen? It was like, these are all the things I did to win a championship. Now, if I wrote that in a book, which I did many years ago, called The Anatomy of Winning, what if I told you 99% of coaches still wouldn't read it? Why? They want to win championships. No, they don't want to win championships because they're not humble. They're not hungry. They're not teachable. They're not coachable. They're fixed in their mindsets. They think there's all these external factors of why they can't win. I think Indiana proved that you don't have to have the best players to win championships, although they had great players. I think they proved that you could do something you've never done before. I think they proved that when you make a decision, so when you're watching this Behind the Grind series and you're thinking like, what does it take to have a championship? Here's what I see. People want quantum leaps before they do the basic work. People want to make drastic jumps before they built the basic foundation. They haven't worked on their skill. They haven't worked on their knowledge. They got the same knowledge, the same skill, the same desire, the same confidence they had 3 years ago. And they're like, why can't I have a quantum leap? Why can't I get a seat at a bigger table? Why can't I've been grinding my whole life. You could grind your whole life and still be broke, folks. if you don't get to the right table, if you don't get around the right people, if you don't have the right information, if you don't make the right moves. So I see a lot of people grind it out, right? Nashville grind, and they grind it out. They escalate to the wrong place, and they go, man, I worked my whole life, right? Stacey Murphy, I worked my whole life. We see this in the insurance business that Stacey's in. They could actually just partner with the right people and actually get a seat at the big table, but they got to start with the decision. So when I go back in the Price Pritchett in me, it's like, how did you experience a quantum leap? And he said, I didn't know when I was going to. I just made a decision. I just made a decision. And I backed that decision up with an action. Now, what actions do you need to take? They don't even all have to be the right decisions. You see me go live on Saturday. You see me go live on Sunday. You see me go live on Monday. And you say, you know, why is Coach Burt doing that? Because I remember that's what I used to do to drive traffic and interest and leads and energy. And it's like many of us have gotten away from doing the things that made us successful. And you get to a point you're like, well, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't feel like doing that. Amateurs listen to their feelings. Go back to things that made you successful. You used to prospect. You used to follow up. So if you're out there and you're like, how do I experience this breakthrough? Right. And this is sponsored by Nashville Grind, the coffee company. If you want to help us, go get some of the incredible coffee, NashvilleGrind.com. You can get Coach Burt's blend called the Greatness Blend, right? So side effects make you want to play at a higher level, maybe become a big time player. Okay. You can get a seat at the big table if you make a decision today and go, who can help me? And you take an action, you schedule an appointment, you do a follow-up. You don't take a rejection. I rejected somebody the other day and said, man, I just don't want the product or service right now. I'm not interested. They haven't followed up one time. They didn't come back at me at all to say, hey, let's pivot another way. Let me show you a different way to do it. They just rolled over. Said, I'm out because you said no to me. Okay. Hey, get your feelings out of the way. When people reject you, say, thank you. I owe you. Who's next? You don't say who's next. You can say, hey, man, let me come at it a different way. What about this that you didn't like? These are things that you said, how can I help you? See, I got an email today from a person that would have seemed like rejection. And I go, hey, man, maybe you and I are just looking at this two different ways, but it's hard to tell through the email. Let's get on a call and let's talk about it. How you handle things with diplomacy, how you handle things with class, how you show up, right? It's like you push, and then you have a breakthrough. So let's end with this, guys. How do you experience this breakthrough? Because Nashville Grind was kind of built on this theme of a lot of life is built on a grind. And every big star was once a little star that wanted to be big. And then one day, right? And then one day they had a breakthrough. So what happened to those people? They met someone that created this trigger event that got them thinking bigger. And they met someone that opened the door for them to play at a much bigger level. Okay. All right. I'm Coach Michael Burt. This has been a short coaching session sponsored by Nashville Grind, brand new coffee company. Incredible coffee, folks. Get Coach's Blend. Go to NashvilleGrind.com/coach. Okay. And get you some coffee. There's all kinds of blends in there. If you're a Tennessee Vols fan, they got the Vol bag. They've got the Music City Magic. They got the K-Cups. They got everything that you could need. A lot of people have bought this personal blend, my Greatness Blend. Thank you for that. We appreciate you. We're going to be doing Behind the Grind series, starts next week in February. It's a 4-week series with me. And the only entry to the 4-week series is you go and you buy some coffee. So if you're buying Folgers, come on, folks. Let's get out of the minor leagues. Let's get into the major leagues. No offense to Folgers, but this is a step up. This is like the Ritz-Carlton of coffee. So for the coffee snobs out there, they tell me they love it. Okay, so go get it on a subscription, get it where it comes to your house every single day and or every single week. And man, we appreciate you. Everybody needs a great coach, and everybody needs to go from a baby star to a big star. Thank you for the coaching session, guys. Make it a great day.